Hello and thank you for joining us. Today we celebrate Wednesday of the fourth week of Lent. We have some very beautiful readings for us today which remind us of God's enduring presence both in our lives and in our world. The first reading from the book of Prophet Isaiah is a promise of restoration of land and of people. God comes to his people with salvation. Even in time of despair and desolation, God's promise is found in the following words in our first reading. Can a mother forget her infant, or be without tenderness for the child of her womb? Even should she forget, I will never forget you. In the Gospel, we are with Jesus in Jerusalem for the feast of Passover. On the Sabbath, he cures a person by the poolside at the sheep gate who had been ill for 38 years. He tells him to rise, take up his mat, and walk. And so he does. The Jews are obviously offended. They are so obsessed with the breaking of the Sabbath by Jesus and by the person that Jesus has healed that they are not able to see God's healing presence among them, and they begin to persecute him. Jesus' response to the Jews in this context is today's text of the Gospel. He reminds them of God's works. He speaks of his works as coming from his Father. Amen, amen, I say to you, the Son cannot do anything on his own, but only what he sees the Father doing. For what he does, the Son will do also. Jesus, the Son of God, becomes a living expression of God's work. His words and actions brought life to people. His words and actions continue to transform people's lives. We remember St. Patrick today. He was born in Roman Britain in the 4th century into a wealthy Romano-British family. At the age of 16, he was kidnapped by Irish raiders and taken as a slave to Gaelic Ireland. He remained there for 6 years. After making his way home, Patrick went on to become a priest and later was consecrated bishop for Ireland. He spent many years evangelizing northern half of Ireland and converted thousands. Speaking of spiritual gifts, St. Paul writes in his first letter to the Corinthians, there are different kinds of spiritual gifts, but the same Spirit. There are different forms of service, but the same Lord. There are different workings, but the same God who produces all of them in everyone. Like St. Patrick, God uses you and me, and yes, even at times our brokenness, to continue his work in our times. God is continuously at work in and through us. May the passion of Jesus Christ be always in our hearts.